Listen carefully, chosen one. The scariest thing for your enemies is not your silence. It's not when you keep your head down, avoiding conflict, trying to blend in. No, the moment that terrifies them the most is when you finally step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. That's the nightmare they prayed would never come true. And tonight, not tomorrow, not someday, not when you feel ready. Tonight, that moment begins. The universe is flipping a switch inside of you. Once it turns on, there's no going back. You will feel it, and so will everyone around you. The ones who mocked you, who whispered that you'd never make it, who rolled their eyes at your dreams, they will sense the shift in their bones. They'll act confused, they'll pretend they don't notice, they'll scroll past your presence like nothing has changed. But deep down they will know exactly what just happened. I want you to imagine this with me. Picture a room full of people laughing at a single candle. They're mocking it because it looks so small, so fragile, so easy to blow out. They see no threat, no reason to respect it. But then, in an instant, that tiny flame touches a pile of dry wood. Suddenly, the entire room is on fire. The laughter stops, the jokes vanish, and no one is laughing anymore. That's you tonight. For so long they thought you were just a spark they could snuff out with gossip, jealousy, or doubt. But tonight you become the fire they can't control, the blaze they cannot put out. This is not just poetic language, it's backed by truth. According to research in human behavior, the very moment a person stops hiding, the moment they embrace their full identity without fear, their social influence skyrockets. It can double, sometimes even triple overnight. That's not a philosophy, that's data. People who stop watering themselves down suddenly attract the opportunities, the attention, and the energy that was once denied them. That's exactly what's happening to you tonight. Let that sink in for a moment. Because maybe you've been told all your life that staying quiet was safer, that keeping your light dimmed made things easier. Maybe you thought blending in was the best way to avoid rejection. But chosen one, the universe doesn't allow you to stay hidden forever. You weren't designed to be invisible, and now the switch has flipped. Think about it. How many times did they label you, box you in, dismiss you, or underestimate you? How many times did you shrink yourself just to keep other people comfortable? That's over now. Tonight you are stepping into a frequency they've always been afraid you'd discover. Tonight you rise into the version of yourself they swore would never show up. And here's the truth, when the universe selects someone to rise, no enemy, no gossip, no betrayal, not even your own doubts can block it. You're not just walking into a new chapter, you are becoming the chapter that cannot be skipped. When people see you tomorrow, they won't even be able to explain what's different. They'll just feel it, the way you carry yourself, the way your silence commands, respect the way your presence shifts the atmosphere. Chosen one, you've always been different. You've always known there was something inside you waiting to break free. You felt the pressure to shrink so others could breathe easier. You tried to tone yourself down so no one would feel threatened. But tonight, everything you suppressed refuses to stay buried. The universe has been preparing you in silence, stripping away fake connections, distractions, and baggage. Now the stage is set. And the very people who doubted you will be the ones most disturbed by your transformation. They'll act like nothing has changed, but you'll notice their voices shake when they speak to you. They'll scroll through your presence silently, pretending they're not watching, but inside they'll feel rattled. You'll haunt them simply by existing as your true self. This isn't arrogance, it's inevitability. You were never meant to stay small. And tonight, the unstoppable current of destiny flows through you. Now, let me pause for a moment and say this. Thank you for being here, because this isn't just another YouTube video, and you're not just another viewer. You are part of a mission. This message isn't random, it's confirmation. And when you like this video, when you subscribe, when you comment 777 down below, you're not just engaging with a channel, you're helping to spread light to others who desperately need it. You're saying, I'm part of this movement. I'm ready. And that matters more than you know. Because this isn't just about you. This is about the countless souls who will feel your fire when you rise. When you live fully as yourself, you give them permission to do the same. Your courage becomes their spark. Your fire ignites theirs. That's why tonight is so important. It's bigger than you. So let me ask you this. What would happen if you finally stopped dimming your light? What would shift in your relationships, in your work, in your destiny, if you embraced the fullness of who you are without apology? How much longer will you wait to show the world the version of you that heaven already knows? The answer is clear. You don't wait any longer, because tonight is the turning point. Tonight, the air itself will feel different when you wake up tomorrow. Tonight is the night you stop being their fear and start becoming their reality. And I need you to remember this. Your enemies aren't afraid of your silence. They're afraid of your voice, your fire, your presence, your transformation. They feared this moment because deep down they knew it would come. And now it's here. So take a deep breath. Stay with me. Because this is not just talk, this is the mirror of your journey. If you've made it this far into this message, it's not by accident. It means the universe has already marked you for something greater. And tonight it all comes alive. Chosen one, get ready. Drop that 777 inches the comments as your declaration. Because this is not just inspiration, it's confirmation. This is your moment, your transformation, your fire, and nothing will ever be the same again. Chosen one, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a small candle in the corner of a room. People laugh at it because it looks weak, fragile, easy to blow out. They don't take it seriously. They mock it, saying, "What difference can this little flame make?" But then in an instant that candle touches dry wood. Suddenly the entire room bursts into fire. The laughter stops. The air shifts. Nobody's joking anymore. That is you. That is the transformation happening inside of you right now. For so long they thought you were just a flicker, something they could extinguish with a little gossip, a little jealousy, a little doubt. But tonight you become the fire they cannot control. You see, there comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the world realizes you're not here to be overlooked, you're here to ignite. You're not here to be snuffed out, you're here to set atmospheres ablaze. That's what terrifies them. Not that you speak loudly, but that your very presence carries heat, carries light, carries something they cannot put back into a box. And the truth is, they'll never admit it out loud, but they will feel it in their bones. Now think about this. Imagine a stage with a performer standing under soft lights, smiling, reciting lines, soaking in applause. Everything looks polished. Everything looks perfect. But then the lights grow brighter, harsher, hotter, until the makeup begins to melt, the costume begins to itch, and the mask no longer sticks. Suddenly, the illusion falls apart. That chosen one is what your presence does to those who live behind masks. You don't have to expose them with words. Your authenticity is the heat that melts through their performance. Your truth is the light that reveals what was hiding in the shadows. That's why they've always wanted you to stay small. That's why they labeled you too much. They whispered you were arrogant. They said you were intimidating. But what they really meant was, you see me more clearly than I want to be seen. When you step into the fullness of who you are, you become a mirror. They can't escape a flame that strips away every illusion. And that, my friend, is terrifying for people who've built their entire identity on pretending. But here's what you need to understand. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain. You don't need to raise your voice. Your silence is enough. Your stillness is enough. Your authenticity will do the burning for you. Think of it like X-ray vision for the soul. While others are busy covering themselves with layers of pretense, you carry the rare gift of seeing straight through. And no matter how much they squirm, sweat or fumble, they cannot hide under your presence. Now let me ask you this. Why do people react so strongly to truth? Why do they avoid eye contact with someone who carries authenticity? It's because illusions are comfortable prisons. Most people would rather stay locked inside a lie than pay the price of freedom. And when you walk into the room, you shake the prison walls. You are the crack in the wall, the force that reminds them pretending isn't living. And while they may despise you for it on the surface deep down, even in their resentment, they respect you. Because authenticity is something no one can fake. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why they call you cold. That's why they try to twist your clarity into cruelty. They don't hate you. They hate what wakes up inside of them when they stand in your light. You become undeniable proof that their illusions are breaking. And whether they crumble, lash out, or retreat, one thing is guaranteed: they will never be the same after encountering you. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. How many times did you try to soften yourself just to fit in? How many times did you dim your light so others wouldn't feel threatened? Maybe you've walked into rooms where you instantly felt the atmosphere shift. People got quiet conversations, stumbled eyes darted away. That wasn't in your imagination. That was your fire unsettling the unprepared. That was your authenticity making liars sweat. And instead of blaming yourself for it, you need to start seeing it for what it really is: power. And I'll tell you something else. The universe does not waste time sharpening a flame for no reason. If you carry this kind of fire, it's because you're meant to use it. Not to destroy, but to expose. Not to harm, but to purify. Fire doesn't apologize for burning away what can't withstand it, and neither should you. When people stand in front of you, they shouldn't just see a flattering reflection. They should feel the exposure, the unraveling, the call to step into truth. So, here's the shift. Chosen one, tonight you stop being the mirror that pleases. Tonight you stop reflecting only what others want to see. From this moment on, you are the fire that exposes. And yes, it will make some people uncomfortable. Yes, it will make some people avoid you. But let me ask you this. Would you rather be liked for living a lie or respected for standing in truth? This is not a role you chose. It's a calling that has been carved into your very being. And while it may feel heavy at times, remember this: you were designed for it. That's why no matter how much they tried to break you, you're still here. That's why no matter how many times they whispered behind your back, your fire only grew hotter. They cannot kill what the universe has already lit. Chosen one, embrace it. Let their discomfort confirm your transformation. When they call you intimidating, remember what they're really saying. You see me too clearly. When they call you arrogant, what they mean is, I can't handle the truth you radiate. When they call you cold, what they mean is, your authenticity burns through my illusions. So wear those labels like proof. Proof that your light is too real to ignore. Proof that your fire is here to stay. And tomorrow, when you walk into rooms, don't expect applause. Expect silence. Expect the air to shift. Expect eyes to glance away, because you will no longer just be seen, you will be felt. And that, chosen one, is the kind of presence that no one can deny. You are not glass, you are not a safe mirror, you are fire in human form. And when the fire burns, the truth always rises. Chosen one, let's be honest with each other. For so long you've wondered, why me? Why does it always feel like I'm under attack? Why does life hit me harder than it seems to hit everyone else? And maybe people told you it was all just bad luck, or maybe you convinced yourself that you were clumsy, careless, or even cursed. But tonight the veil lifts. Tonight you will understand that what you went through was not random. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't some cruel joke of the universe. It was a war. Every betrayal, every knife in your back, every season of loneliness that cut you to the core, none of it was an accident. It was targeted resistance. You were marked from the very beginning, and the opposition came because you carry something rare, something dangerous to the systems built on lies. You see, the cruelest trick your enemies ever pulled was trying to convince you that the battle wasn't real, that the pain was just life happening. But deep down you always knew. You felt it in your gut, you sensed it in your spirit. And tonight the truth is undeniable. You were not unlucky, you were targeted. I want you to imagine this, a soldier standing on a battlefield, but completely unaware. There's even a war going on. Bullets whiz past his head, and he thinks they're just accidents. He falls into trenches and believes he's simply clumsy. He questions himself, saying, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm cursed. But then one night someone places binoculars in his hand. Suddenly he sees the enemy lines. He sees the traps. He sees the crosshairs aimed right at him. And in that moment his whole world shifts. He realizes it was never random. It was a strategy. That soldier is you, chosen one. Tonight, those binoculars are in your hand. And once you see the battlefield for what it really is, you can never unsee it. That's why the betrayals cut so deep. That's why people you trusted the most flipped on you like strangers overnight. That's why entire rooms shifted in energy the moment you walked in. Because your presence was never neutral. It unsettled the systems. And the systems don't just fight through policies or rules, they fight through people. And here's the hardest truth. Many of those people had no idea they were being used. They thought they were just setting boundaries. They thought they were choosing themselves. They thought they were simply moving on. But underneath they were pawns in a much bigger strategy. And this is where you need to shift your perspective. Those seasons of isolation you thought were punishment, they were tactics. The gaslighting that made you doubt your own sanity, that was psychological warfare. The distractions that kept pulling you off track, those were planted to keep you too exhausted to see the truth. Everything was designed to keep you weak, quiet, questioning yourself. And yet here you are. Still standing, still breathing, still carrying a fire in your chest. The enemy thought breaking you would bury you, but all it did was train you to fight in the dark. Think about the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed with no applause, no support, no validation. You thought you were wasting time, but in reality, you were in training. You were being sharpened, not shattered. Every scar was teaching you survival. Every wound was building endurance. Every lonely night was preparing you for the stage that opens tonight. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how much harder you had to work just to get half the recognition? How others seemed to coast through life while you had to climb uphill with every step? That wasn't because you were less worthy. It was because you were dangerous. And when you're dangerous, systems built on lies will do everything they can to neutralize you before you realize your own power. But here's the shift happening right now. You are no longer the hunted. You are no longer the experiment. You are no longer stumbling blind on the battlefield. Tonight, you become the one holding the intel. You carry the blueprints now, and they know it. You walk back into the same rooms where you were once mocked, but this time you see every tactic, every game, every disguise. Their smiles look thinner. Their energy feels hollow. Their words no longer deceive you because your eyes are open. Think about it. Have you ever played chess? Most people on the board are pawns. They move predictably, one step at a time, content to stay in their lane. But then there's the Queen. Unlimited movement, unlimited power, dangerous to the entire structure of the game. And what happens when the Queen starts moving? Every other piece is sacrificed just to slow her down. That's you, chosen one. You were never just another pawn. That's why the opposition was relentless. Because they knew that if you ever discovered who you are, the whole board would shake. And now you see it clearly. The chaos wasn't chaos, it was resistance. The betrayals weren't personal, they were strategic. The losses weren't punishment, they were preparation. Suddenly everything begins to make sense. The fog lifts, the scattered pieces align. You realize you were never crazy, never cursed, never weak. You were being forged. So let me ask you, if the enemy needed all those tactics just to slow you down before you even realized you were at war, what happens now that you do? That's what terrifies them. Because tonight, the hunt becomes the threat, the target becomes the weapon, and the battlefield will never look the same again. Chosen one, you are proof that the war was always real. Proof that you were marked for something greater. Proof that no amount of resistance could erase your destiny. From this moment forward, you are not stumbling in the dark. You are standing tall, watching them scramble, and they know it. You've graduated from survival. Now you walk in strategy. You carry clarity. And clarity is the most dangerous weapon of all. Because once you see, you can never unsee. And once you know, you can never know. That is your power. That is your awakening. And tonight, you stop being their victim and start being their fear. Chosen one, there's a new kind of power rising inside you tonight. Not the loud, showy kind, but a frequency. Think of it like a radio station that suddenly shifts the whole room. When you walk into a place, your energy is not just another signal. It is the tuning fork that makes the cheap, borrowed frequencies wobble and then collapse. You are the window someone opens in a smoke-filled room. You don't have to shout that the air is poisonous, the smoke gives itself away. That's what happens when you tune to a clean frequency. The lies begin to show. The fake comfort zones crack and false systems reveal their seams. Let me make that concrete. Ever been in a meeting or a family gathering where everything felt off, but you couldn't name why? People laughed at the wrong moments. Compliments felt plastic, and the small talk had an underlying tension. That sensation wasn't paranoia, it was resonance. Your body was picking up a frequency that the room was used to broadcasting. When you raise your frequency just a notch by being honest, by being steady, by refusing to play small, the room doesn't magically become nicer. Instead, the smoke clears. People who were coasting on charm and manipulation suddenly look exposed. Their routines that used to work start glitching. Technology misbehaves. Conversations stumble. It's not mystical voodoo. It's simple physics of energy and truth. Why does this matter? Because systems built on control and illusion depend on people tolerating the smoke. When you become what I call a clean frequency, you don't argue with those systems. You make them unsustainable. Manipulators lose their rhythm because their power is borrowed from fear and confusion. That funny little tick they used to get away with. It shows. The well-rehearsed smile. It slips. The tight little scripts that once steered rooms fall flat. You didn't do anything aggressive. You simply refused to lower your signal so other people could keep pretending. That refusal is enough to start a collapse. I want you to picture a dilapidated building propped up with cheap scaffolding. For years, people have painted over cracks, rearranged furniture, and told themselves everything's fine. Then you walk in with a flashlight. The paint peels, the scaffolding creaks, the foundation trembles. Suddenly, what was fine looks like a house of cards. That's the gift and the danger of your presence. It reveals true structure. And when structure is revealed, you can either be part of rebuilding it right, or you can walk away and trust that the truth will rearrange things without your permission. Now let's talk about the body and the environment, because this is not just poetic language. Your nervous system knows the geography of truth. Have you noticed how some places make your skin crawl, or how certain people exhaust you after 5 minutes? That's your biology, signaling the presence of unhealthy frequencies. Your hands sweat, your jaw tightens, your brain registers tiny micro-alarms. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. The same way smoke triggers a cough, your body reacts to toxic atmospheres. Once you learn to trust those cues, you become a living compass. If a room glitches, phones die, cameras act up, people get irritable, listen. Your spirit is telling you to protect your frequency. Walk with boundaries. Leave without guilt. Your life is not meant to be a testing ground for other people's cowardice. Here's a deeper layer: when you consistently refuse to blend, you do more than unsettle rooms, you rewrite timelines. I don't mean metaphysical fluff. I mean generational patterns. I mean the old arguments that replay at every holiday, the quiet tolerances that everyone inherits like heirlooms. You become what I call a breaker of clocks and chains. Picture your family like a long line of dominoes, patterns of shame, silence, favoritism, abuse or smallness that have toppled one generation after another. You were the one who felt the weight of those dominoes and asked, "Why do we keep doing this?" You were the one who refused the script. When you step into a higher frequency, courage, accountability, healing, you stop the next domino from falling. Let me give you an example. Maybe there's a family story where we don't talk about money, and because of that silence, generations believed scarcity was inevitable. Or maybe the rule was, we never confront family members, and so toxic behavior was normalized. When you show up and say, "No more," when you set a boundary, or when you heal a wound publicly, instead of hiding it, you create a ripple. Your healing is a reset. Your honesty becomes a new currency. Ancestors who never had closure get the echo of justice through you. Children who will one day trace their roots back to you inherit a different baseline, one that says, confrontation can be healthy, vulnerability can be brave, and abundance can be possible. That level of impact is heavy, and I won't pretend it's easy. Breaking clocks and chains often means you'll be criticized as disloyal or dramatic. People invested in the old timeline will try to pull you back, accuse you of betraying tradition, or gaslight you into feeling guilty for wanting more. Expect resistance. Expect ghosts. Old lovers, old friends, even old versions of yourself might resurface, trying to drag you back into the comfort of sameness. But remember, you aren't breaking cycles to punish anyone. You're breaking them so that the future breathes easier. Now, one of the most miraculous things about being a frequency breaker is that you do not need permission to reorder reality. You do not need their approval to reframe your family's story, to leave toxic work cultures, or to refuse invitations that cost your sanity. Your presence alone initiates the undoing. And once the undoing begins, timelines realign doors. You thought sealed open. People who once avoided accountability suddenly must reckon, and new alliances form around integrity. It is messy and it is holy. So what does this look like practically? Here are 3 actions you can start today to embody this frequency and become a breaker of clocks and chains. Honor your biology. If your body says no, take it seriously. Leave, rest, detox. Your intuition is a shield. Protect it. Set micro boundaries now. Start small. Stop answering late-night calls that drain you. Stop taking responsibility for everyone's emotional labor. Enforce real limits in conversations. Over time, these micro-boundaries become a new architecture for your life. Tell one truth safely. Share one honest thing with a trusted person or in a journal. Memory is reactivated through confession and clarity. Each truth you speak chips away at the old lie. And finally, I need you to hold this. You are not alone in being the window that clears the smoke. There are others, quiet, steady, and relentless. When they align with your frequency, the cleaning becomes a chorus. The house gets rebuilt. The domino line changes course. You are part of a wider reset. Chosen one, tonight your frequency is stabilizing. Let it be the light that discloses falsehoods, the presence that recalibrates rooms, the courage that stops generational cycles. You are not an accident. You are the intervention. Walk forward with gentle ferocity. Protect your energy. Keep your boundaries. Speak your truths. And remember, breaking clocks and chains is not just retribution, it is restoration. The past gets its justice, the future gets its gift, and the present finally breathes. If this message resonates, declare it by living it. Step into the room as the frequency you were born to be. The world will either adjust or fall apart. Both are victories for truth. Chosen one, there is a power far greater than learning something new. It's remembering what was stolen, what was buried, what was silenced inside of you. Your enemies never feared your wounds as much as they feared your memory. They did everything they could to make you forget who you were, distracting you with noise, burying you under shame, rewriting stories about your life so you would doubt your own light. But here's the thing, memory is not destroyed, it waits. And tonight it comes rushing back like a flood. You are not simply thinking differently. You are remembering at the level of your bones, your breath, your very cells. The core of who you are is awakening again, and that is the beginning of a revolution. Have you ever walked into a room and felt that sense of déjà vu, like you had lived this moment before, but with more strength, more clarity, more fire? That is not just nostalgia. That is your soul reminding you, I've been here before and this time I won't bow. This return of memory is not a mental game, it is spiritual DNA activating. Every lie that was spoken over you, every false reflection they tried to pin on you, begins to shatter because the real you has stepped back onto the stage, and the real you cannot be erased. This is why your very existence becomes a verdict for those who tried to harm you. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to drag out receipts. You don't even need to explain your side of the story. Your life itself is the judgment. Your peace is the evidence. Your stability is the sentence. When people see you thriving, healing, and radiating after all the storms you survived, it rattles them more than any revenge ever could. You are not the defense attorney anymore, you are the verdict. And no one can cross-examine what the universe has already stamped approved. Think about this, people once mocked you, counted you out, even celebrated your downfall. They thought your absence would erase their guilt, but your silence became their loudest accuser. And now every time they hear your name, it's like an alarm clock ringing in their chest, sharp, sudden, impossible to snooze. Your presence will haunt their conscience because deep down they know they failed the test. They mishandled someone they were never meant to touch. And this brings me to your worth. You are no longer cheap to access. You are no longer the soul that anyone can wander in and out of for free. Healing has raised your value. Every wound you turned into wisdom, every scar you polished into strength has increased your price. You are now too expensive for cheap games, too rare for counterfeit support, too sacred for chaotic energy. Let's be clear, this is not arrogance. This is survival. Your spirit has become premium. Access to you now requires honesty, accountability, and growth. And the truth is, most people can't afford that. So don't be surprised when invitations you used to accept feel heavy. Don't feel guilty for ignoring calls that drain you. Don't second guess when you decline to re-enter rooms that once broke you. It's not bitterness, it's boundaries. It's not distance, it's divinity. You've simply stopped renting yourself out to people who never intended to pay the price of respect. And yes, even family is not exempt. Blood may connect bodies, but it doesn't purchase access to your soul. From this point forward, titles don't grant clearance. Only alignment does. Chosen one, you have become living proof that the impossible can happen. They said you'd never get back up. They whispered you'd never recover, never rise, never matter without them. But look at you now. Every breath you take in peace, every step you walk in strength, every smile you carry in freedom is a contradiction to their lies. You are the miracle they swore would never exist. You are the headline they prayed would never print. You are the testimony they cannot rewrite. And here's the part that cuts deepest: you have become the exam they never prepared for. You are the litmus test of authenticity. When you step into the room, loyalties are revealed without you asking a question. Some will cheer because they were always for you. Some will shrink back in silence because your glow exposes their envy. A few will lash out not because you hurt them, but because your strength reminds them of everything they refuse to become. Your elevation is the exam, and their reactions are the answers. You don't even have to grade the paper, their energy tells the truth before their mouths ever open. So don't be afraid of the separation that's coming. It's not rejection, it's revelation. Your rise is the filter that divides the genuine from the fraudulent. And though it may sting to see who falls away, trust that what remains is real, solid, and aligned with where you're going. The universe will not allow counterfeits to sit at the same table as authenticity. Now let me leave you with this. Studies have shown that when people stop hiding their identity, their influence often doubles or triples overnight. That's not just science, that's prophecy. And that is what's happening to you right now. By remembering who you are, by refusing to dim your light, you step into exponential influence. Opportunities you thought were locked suddenly open. Energy that once avoided you suddenly chases you. And connections that once overlooked you now recognize your value. So here's what I want you to do if you're ready to declare this moment. As your awakening, type 777 inches the comments. Not just as a number, but as a confirmation. Because every time you do, you're aligning with this truth and you're helping this message reach other souls who are desperate for the same breakthrough. And don't forget to like and subscribe, not for me, but for the mission. Every action you take here helps spread this light to those who are still wandering in the dark. Chosen one tonight, you are not just another story. You are the verdict. You are the memory returned. You are the soul too valuable to be mishandled. You are the proof they said could never exist. And you are the exam that no counterfeit can pass. This is your time. This is your chapter. And the world will never be the same again because you remembered who you are. Tonight is the night. Say it with me. Tonight is the night. Not next week, not when you feel ready, not someday, tonight. That phrase is not a slogan, it's a seal. It's the moment where everything you've been living through changes, categories from endurance to triumph, from training to assignment, from hidden potential to public reality. You've been prepared in the shadows, but the shadow phase is over. The universe has flipped the switch. This is the confirmation you've been waiting for. Listen, the consequences of this shift aren't subtle. People will notice in small, unavoidable ways. Some will act confused. They'll pretend nothing changed, because admitting it means admitting they were wrong. Others will cling tighter, whispering and trying to bargain for what they once had. Some will perform more loudly, as if noise can cover their discomfort. But inside, whether they admit it or not, they will know that something fundamental has changed. Your presence will land like a verdict in their chest, undeniable, unappealable. Think about the candle that became a fire. The room that mocked the tiny flame couldn't laugh when the blaze took hold. That image applies now. Your life will make a different kind of sound in rooms that used to dismiss you. The laughter becomes silence. The faux friendship fades. The petty scripts that used to control conversations won't work anymore. Your life is doing what words could not. It is exposing an old story and writing a new one. So what does this mean practically for you? There are 3 immediate, urgent things to hold on to as you walk out of this night into your new normal. First, protect your authenticity like it's the most valuable thing you own. Your truth is not disposable. When you stop performing to soothe other people's discomfort, your influence increases. We talked earlier about how authenticity can double or triple your social reach. That's not hyperbole here. It's the natural result of people responding to realness. But increased reach attracts all sorts of attention, helpful, hungry, and hostile. You must be intentional about who gets access. Keep clear boundaries. Let your silence be a fortress when you need to be guarded, and a doorway when you're ready to receive true alignment. Remember, your presence is sacred. You are no longer on display for cheap entertainment. Second, learn to read the litmus test. Your life has become the exam that reveals who's loyal and who was only playing a role. Watch reactions, not just words. Notice who celebrates genuinely, who smiles with the eyes, who quietly supports you in private, and who only applauds in public to keep up appearances. This is not judgmental, it's practical. Authentic relationships will survive this season, shallow ones will not. Don't mourn the collapse of what was fake, the collapse is the healing. The clearer you are about who you let into your inner circle, the faster you'll build a life worth defending. Third, understand the historical weight of your rise. You are not merely reclaiming a life, you are interrupting a lineage of compromise, silence, and unspoken agreements. When you break a generational pattern, whether it's secrecy, shame, poverty, mindset, or toxic loyalty, your decision ripples backward and forward. Ancestors you never met feel the relief of a loop finally broken. Descendants you haven't met inherit a new baseline. That's why your healing is holy work. It's not selfish, it's surgical. You cut out the infection so the family body can heal. Don't underestimate the audacity of that gift. Let me give you a clear image. You are not a pawn on a chessboard anymore. You are the queen capable of changing the whole game. You're the window opened in a smoke-filled room. You are the soldier who finally sees the enemy lines through binoculars. You are the breaker of clocks and chains, the one who halts the domino line in its tracks. You don't need to wage noise-filled wars. You simply walk in, and systems built on illusion begin to rattle. That's your influence in action. There will be resistance. Expect it. People who benefited from the old scripts will escalate. They will test your boundaries, try to shame you back into the old roles, or gaslight you for daring to be whole. When they do remember this, their escalation is actually proof. Proof that your change matters. Proof that you are touching something they depended on. Let their reaction confirm your path, not deter you from it. Now some practical guidance for the days and weeks to come. Keep a short list of non-negotiables. These are your boundary pillars, basic terms for any relationship. Honesty, mutual effort, respect, and accountability. If someone cannot meet them, they do not get long-term access. Create a ritual of remembering. Memory returned is not passive, it's cultivated. Journal one truth about your history every week. A moment where you were true to yourself. A wound that taught you a time you chose differently. This builds cellular remembrance, making the identity shift real and sustainable. Celebrate quietly. A lot of your work now is for the long arcs. Don't feel compelled to shout every victory. Let the steady accumulation of wins solidify your new identity. Use your voice to lift others once the dust settles. Your rise is not just for you. It becomes a door others can walk through when they're ready. Share what you learned, not to teach as an expert, but to show a path that once felt impossible. And yes, we circle back to the community. This channel, this mission is not just content, it's a gathering of souls who are waking up. If tonight's message landed with you, do 3 simple things that actually matter, like this video, so the algorithm helps others find it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next step in this movement, and drop 777 inches the comments as your declaration, a simple sacred marker that you're stepping into the version of yourself you were promised. Before we close, let's name the metaphors that got us here, because they're not just poetic, they're keys you can carry. The candle that becomes fire, the stage lights that melt masks, the soldier given binoculars, the queen on the chessboard, the window that clears smoke, the breaker of clocks and chains, memory returning to the bones, the diamond set properly, the litmus test revealing who's real. Keep these images near. They'll remind you that transformation is both symbolic and practical. Finally, hear this as a charge: walk forward with gentle ferocity. Your mission now is steady. Stay authentic, guard your peace, sort the real from the fake, and reset the family and community stories that no longer serve the truth. Your life is not a problem to be fixed, it's a beacon to be lit. When you choose to burn bright, you don't only change your world, you change the direction of generations. Tonight is the night. The switch has been flipped. The room will feel different when you wake. People will notice. Some will be shaken, some relieved, some resentful, but none of that changes your assignment. Keep walking, keep shining, keep being the flame they never expected and the rest of us always needed. If you're ready, type 777 now and welcome home.